Y'all ain't heard nothing like this before. Beat him in the head with this trilogy. Who dropped this for a certain demographic? Turn it up, blast it. This is gonna be a classic. Facts. Not your run of the.
Hey, Paisans and Gomadas, welcome to the new episode of Gangsters and Cigars. It's going to be a great episode today. No cigar review today. We're going to do a mini episode on a new cigar review. Fan called in, wants us to do a review on an acid. We're going to do an acid totally different way that you probably haven't seen before. My co-host, Shirtless Mike, is not with me today. He's in the shop. He's pimping out some sticks. But I do have a new co-host, Steve Sage. He's the owner of Bully Tattoo. And I did the promo about Steve. We're going to talk about some myths. He's going to make sure that I got these myths right. Apparently I got some of them wrong. Pretty excited to sit here with him. As you all know, friends, fam, I spent some time over in the UK doing anti-terrorism. So I know some of the areas that Steve's going to be speaking about, which is going to be really cool. So without further ado, my co-host, the famous, the infamous,
fuck that,
Steve Sage. I already told Steve there's no filter, man.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, man. It's an honor. It's an absolute honor that you're on the show.
Absolutely.
Heard a lot of stuff about you. Apparently some were mixed story. Yeah, you know. I built you up only because of your wife, so she could see that you were this famous guy, this good Samaritan. Again, what Steve did with St. Jude was amazing. I don't want to bring it up again because, like I told you all, St. Jude took care of me when I was very, very young. So they're near and dear to my heart. When a buddy of mine, Gonzo, had told me that Steve had done a benefit for St. Jude, it was like, it was over the top for me. Again, it's near and dear to my heart. So
here we go. Well, first of all, where the fuck was you when I needed a wingman, dude?
Jeez,
I watched your podcast last week talking all kinds of bullshit about me. I said, my old lady, I said, look, talking about me, there's all fucking lies. She said, get in the kitchen, make me some fucking popcorn. First, I want to clarify. I'm from Bristol, England. Dock area, if people don't know, famous for a lot of pirates and stuff like that. You hit on the fact of bare knuckle fighting. I was never a bare knuckle fighter. My best friend Dave, who passed away 14 years ago today, God bless him.
God bless.
He was the bare knuckle fighter. Okay, we were fans of bare knuckle fighting, and just to clear that up, I was never a bare knuckle fighter.
But you did pop every once in a while.
I'll have a fucking row, don't get me wrong. But yeah, so and any Bristol boy would, any real one anyway. I was born in an area called Tarterdown, in my granddad's basement, which is a little bit unusual back then. Right next to Brown Shipyard, by Tarterdown Bridge, if anybody knows Bristol. If you look now, there's building some like big tower block of flats or something there. Right. When my granddad was there, the shipyard got pulled down. His house stood alone up until early 70s. It stood alone there. I was born in the basement. It's like a 4-story house, goes down to the river on the back. But if you look, my granddad was a builder, and he used to dump all his rubble and bricks and shit just into the river.
Right.
The River Avon, which if anybody knows the River Avon, I think it's the second fastest rising tide in the world. I think it goes up 25 feet and down twice a day or so. I don't know exactly, but I know that fucker moves. If you fall in it, forget about it, So my granddad used to drop, from the 50s, he'd be dropping rubble into the river. And it changed the shape of the river. The fucking river comes out round, and the boatyard was there so they could launch boats because he changed the flow of the current. Even to this day, when the tide's down, you'll still see that riverbed snake out around where my granddad's shit went. You know what I mean? Anyway, born in Bristol. Family come from Tarterdown in Northwest, two working class areas. Northwest kind of infamous in its own way for being a rough area. Used to be a pub called Adventure. Anybody who knows Adventure used to venture in or stagger out. A lot of bare knuckle fights would go on Melbourne Square up front there back in the 50s and 60s. Big, famous area, a lot of tough people from up around Northwest. I'm proud my family come from there. A lot of people, shun the areas in Bristol for this, that, and the other. Council estates is just like here in the US. You've got project housing, you've got lower income. It is what it is. I'm proud to be one of them people. Make you who you are, I think.
Absolutely.
But yeah, so growing up, I was always into 50s music, Teddy Boy kind of culture. And then in the late 70s, early 80s, a lot of skinhead type stuff and the punk rockers came around. And then the onslaught of that was psychobilly. And that was where I met my pal Dave and everybody. So got on a psycho scene. And I have to say, growing up, my dad left when I was young, maybe 4 or 5 years old. Bounced around a little bit between Knoll West, Stockwood, Bristol, Knoll, fucking all over the place, Totterdown, bouncing around different schools and stuff like that. I got bullied a bit because I was kind of lanky, you know. Didn't have much meat on my bones back then, and I was tall. So I get little fuckers like you that was 4 years older than me, but the same height, you know, and want to give me an idea. So I did have to learn to have a scrap, you know. And in Bristol, it was kind of fun. Go down in the docks on a weekend when you get 16, 17, get around to the clubs and the bars and, you know, all them places. And I start to meet people like Dave, and a couple of years older than me, these lads, but they were legends, you know what I mean? And they made younger guys like me, they turned you into men because you want to be like them guys, you know what I mean? Which where the tattooing came in, that was kind of a, not like today we're so popular, you know what I mean? You ride your fucking vegan bicycle up here, park outside and come in your all cross-legged and stuff, get a tattoo, you know, put your numbing cream on and fucking whatever. Years ago,
I forgot numbing cream. God damn it.
Years ago, obviously you weren't your tattoos in a different way. If you had a throat tattoo, man, years ago, fuckers wouldn't even look at you because you was a lunatic. You know what I mean? Right. Nowadays, you know, they got their throats, neck, hands, all that face tattoo. They take their shirt off, got nothing on them. Different styles, different cultures, whatever, you know. I love tattoos, don't get me wrong, so it doesn't matter to me. You know what I mean? I've seen it come and go, different fads. But back when we was younger, it was definitely, you identified, you know?
Absolutely.
Like I said, I was big with the rockabilly scene and the psychobilly scene, where the Confederate flag was a huge part of that from the 50s music being in the South. So, you know, we all flew the Confederate. Nothing fucking racist. Anybody knows history, they know for a fact that flag, the battle flag, what fuck will do racism.
Agree.
You know? But that being said, everything gets, you know, twisted out of context, including if you go back just a few years in Bristol, all over the world, you saw them topple a statue into the docks of Edward Colston. That was a guy who was involved somewhat in the slave trade. He put millions of pounds into Bristol to develop Bristol as a merchant trade port, one of the biggest in the world, I believe. And they toppled him into the docks, these BLM Antifa type people, whatever. Honestly, it's fucking history. Get over it. You know, I get it. You've got opinions. Everybody got opinions. But you're toppling history. You take away history, it's going to repeat itself.
Absolutely.
You know? So I got, you know, an old soul. I've always felt, I say my grandfather, before he was a builder on my mum's side, he was on a dredging ship outside of Bristol. And if anybody knows anything about ship building and the old, the old sailboats and stuff, there's a term, ship shape and Bristol fashioned.
Yep.
Do you know what that means?
I don't, but I know the term.
Okay, the term is, in the docks of Bristol, it was so silty coming in on the River Avon, coming off the Bristol Channel. It's so silty in Bristol. The docks is full of thick, shitty mud, sticky, horrible garbage. So the holes of the ships just come out, get stuck in the docks. So they don't even better getting on a higher tide, right? So what they did, they fashioned the boats to come in more flat, I believe. I think it's called a trowel boat, which goes on to like the Landowner Trowel pub. But it's called trowel, and it comes in flat and a ship shape and Bristol fashion. They fashioned it like that so it could get in the Bristol docks, right? And I believe that was from way back in the 1600s. I'm not 100% sure, but I know that's where the term comes from. And if you guys say you go down into the docks of Bristol, there's a lot of buildings from the 1600s. We'll talk a little bit, we're talking about pirates and stuff like that. So if you go into the center, Bristol city center, now it's paved over. Years ago, it was an open dock. Uh-huh. I'm not sure exactly when he paved it over, probably somewhere in the 60s, I'd imagine, maybe before that, I don't know. But it used to be an open dock where they'd have the sailboats all the way in. Now it's a city centre, pedestrianised, whatever. That's where the statues are and stuff like that. They have a big statue of Neptune that's been moved multiple times. He used to face out to the ocean, now it's facing in, then it's facing out again, The 1 minute it's by the water, next minute ain't. But when you're in the docks there, you come in the city centre, they got the Colston Hall, which has now been renamed because of this,
right.
you know, BLM stuff, whatever. But if you come into the docks, to the right, you've got Queen Square, and on the back side of Queen Square, which goes towards Welsh Back, you've got two areas, which is there's a pub. It used to be called the Hole in the Wall. Been back there for a minute. It used to be called the Hole in the Wall, which is over by Bathurst Basin, I believe. I might be slightly wrong. Back of Redcliffe Church, Coliseum pub. There's a pub called the Hole in the Wall, which was famous back in the day, 1600s, I believe, for like Blackbeard.
Right.
And the likes used to hang out there. Amongst there was the Hatchet, which was just a little bit further in from the city centre. And then you had the Landogger Trow, which is on King Street, which is a pretty famous street. So a lot of bars on King Street, it's all cobbled, very old, got very old feel down there. Welsh Back is where the Dockers Club is. I used to go in there as a kid as an associate. I say a kid, like I was like 17, 18. I go in there as an associate docker. And that was full of characters. You're talking Second World War type people.
Uh-huh.
They play the accordion and the spoons and have a sing along, and they didn't give a fuck. That breed of people, Bristolians especially, for me, I held dear because they were characters. You don't have characters anymore like you used to have, and I think you can see that here too. You know,
All the stories are dying
because
the people are dying
well,
off.
you ain't allowed,
dying off.
well, you ain't allowed to be a man anymore. Let's face it. That's shunned.
That's gone.
You know, but if you think about like for me growing up, I could tell you like there was this one fella. I don't want to name names because I don't have permission to do that.
Don't have to.
I was in a pub one time. I come out. It was a Friday. I was in
Right.
construction, and I was young, about fucking 18, 19, whatever. And I was at a pub up Knoll, and this geezer come in. And anybody from Knoll would know what I'm talking about. He had one eye, and I was sitting in a booth in the front window of this pub. I didn't really go to that particular pub, but a couple people in there weren't fond of me. So I'm in this booth. Mate of mine was meeting his father, who was kind of estranged, but was in this front thing. And he sat down, and a couple other people behind there, and then this big fella comes in, fucking nose like this, big man, big fucking man, comes in, fucking one eye, and he sits down there, and he asked me if I knew of a certain bar.
Right.
So I'm gonna go in a character a little bit. Fella's name was Bill. I won't go on above that. But he said, "Why, you're a young'un. Does he know where the Lockwell is?" I said, "Yeah." Down Ashley. Fuck, I was down there that other day. He said, "Geezer coming on," and I won't mention him. He said, "Coming on," he said, "Bill, give us a knicker. Knicker's a pound. All right, give us a knicker." He says, "I ain't got fucking." He said, "Give us a knicker, you cunt." He says, "Fucking, I ain't got a fucking knicker." He said, "He fucking crap." I say, "Split eye from year to year." He said, "It's fucking mates in there to give me a bit of fucking shoeing." He said, "Oh yeah, I come out there and fucking week later." He said, "You might ever fucking pub up there." Well, she has a friendship. I could be wrong. He might have been a different pub. He goes, "I comes in there. Who fucking walks in there? Fucking." He says, "Bill, sorry about that down the low." I says, "There's a fucking knicker. Get yourself a." I said, "Fucking knicker and stick out your ass, you cunts." "Anyway, young'un, does he drink cider?" I said, "Yeah, I've been said." He says, "Fucking get him in." That was the kind of characters all over Bristol. You know what I mean? They was fucking pirates. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
They was, and that's just one. There's fucking hundreds like that.
Right.
North, south, east, west Bristol. We was all different rivals because of the soccer teams or whatever. I had a lot of my mates was from North Bristol because of the music. With the psychobilly and that. A lot of psychobilly was in the north side of Bristol. I was southwest Bristol. Not too many of us in the same. I used to drive around in an old Ford Consul, 1960 Ford Consul Deluxe. I was an Eddie Cochran fan. Fun enough, Cochran's playing right now. I had an old Ford Consul because I was a fan of Eddie Cochran. He died playing it. I think the Bristol Hippodrome was his last gig when he was with Gene Vincent, and they crashed the car and chipped him. So my first car I bought for Kevin Haynes, who was a drummer for Torment, and I had that car. It was royal blue when I got it. I got a car, and I didn't like the blue. I want to paint it pink with a leopard skin roof. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I start sanding this fucking car down, and it turns green. All right, but you got to remember, it's a fucking old car, so it's rippled. So I got blue and I got some green. Oh, I start sanding it some more, and I got red oxide paint on there. And I start sanding it some more, and eventually it goes back to the original color. It was like a bone color.
Right.
All right. So I got blue and green and fucking red and fucking white on this car. And I'm rubbing it. I didn't never wash that car all the fucking time I had it. Me and my mates would come over. We fucking sand a bit more down, ready to paint it. So outside my mum's house was a river of fucking dirty fucking, when it rained, dirty fucking multicolored paint going down the road. But can't do that now. Get the fucking everybody environmental on you. So and I had this car. One day my mate had some carpet. He said, "Steve, got some carpet going in your car." I said, "Great." So we ripped the seats out, putting this carpet in. It's a drizzly day, and we got trying to get it done quick. And this fucking hippie comes down. I says, "Wow, man, I dig your car. Where'd you get that paint?" "Marble finish." But again, different characters in Bristol. You know what I mean? Where we lived up like Charterdown area, we had Hells Angels Clubhouse was out there, for example. You know, so you got to see all the choppers and stuff like that back then. And as a kid, it's exciting to see that stuff. You know, I say a lot of sort of kid street gangs. You know what I mean? A lot of gangs. Yep. You know, like punk rockers, skinheads, and there's areas you go through like me, going down through into the docks from like Charterdown Knoll, Lower Knoll. St. Luke's Road had a viaduct, like a railroad bit of Victoria Park there. A lot of times there was reports of people getting stabbed or whatever there, or mugged or whatever. And I used to always walk down through there. But a couple of times, to be honest, if I saw a mob of people there, I'd fucking go up and over the railroad lines and shit rather than walk past them because I didn't want to be the next victim. Right. You know what I mean? I took enough fucking hidings down there. I didn't want another one. But again, it was very exciting growing up in the 70s and 80s in Bristol. The music scene was fucking ecstatic.
Oh, music scene out of Bristol was incredible.
Yeah, we had so much, especially the alternate stuff with the punk stuff, the skin stuff, the rockabilly. We would be in Cannon, Yesterdays, the Bastille, fucking the Whip, all these different clubs.
Do you play?
I fucked around on the upright bass a little bit, but no, I suck.
It's my instrument.
Right.
Bass.
Yeah, no, I play with myself better than anything else, to be honest.
Yeah, me too. It doesn't sing like it used to, though. I got to be fucking honest with you, brother.
No, but I say got around that time, all them guys was tattooed up, you know what I mean? And there was a guy, Aussie, actually Danny Skews. Let's talk about Skews family real quick. The Skews is a famous Bristol tattoo club, very dear to my heart. Very friendly with Danny before he passed away. His son Jimmy runs a Bristol tattoo club now. Jimmy's grandfather was Les Skews. Les Skews, who was on the wall down there on that picture. Les tattooed my grandfather. My grandfather knew him. Les was known as the champion tattoo artist of all Great Britain.
Right.
Okay. When he passed away, Danny took over, and Danny went by the name Les Jr. In the tattoo world a lot. So his dad's name was carried on. But Danny was an old Teddy boy. He had stories for days. Gonzo met him, got tattooed by him. We all got the Bristol Tattoo Club back. Danny tattooed right pretty much where you're sitting on his 70th birthday, which was probably 12 years ago, I bet. Longer than that, 16 years ago. They've been gone 14, yeah. So Danny came here and tattooed the bat on select people. I think he did 100 fucking people, or no, 10 people. I don't fucking remember what it was. Yeah, 10 people. Yeah, but 10 people. That's what it was. But it was fucking hilarious, man. And he was old school. He didn't give a fuck. It was next. Took him out on a boat. He fucked around. Ozzy was on the front of the boat. Dave Ayers and me I was driving the boat. Dave was there. Danny went throw his fucking shirt in the water and ducked down under the cab there. Ozzy's in the front, thought Danny had been nailed by a fucking alligator. So he was always fucking clowning around. He had stories for days. He was a legend. He'd tell you he was a fucking legend. He was a lovely man. I'd say great tattoo family. And that spanning the Aussie. Aussie was tattooing around Bristol. There was a couple of people that was tattooing around Bristol, but Aussie was by far my favorite tattooer. Still is one of my favorite tattooers in the world.
When did you get started?
Best part of 30 years now, coming up. It's been a minute. The Skin Deep was the shop in Bristol that Dave and Aussie owned. Before that was Rockin' Bones, and before that, Aussie had his thing going on in his place at Cadbury area. But yeah, we all looked up to them guys. They was not to be fucked with, especially Dave. Everybody knew that, but even Oswald, they was just good lads, man. And when I grew up, like I say, bouncing around, I'd get beat up a lot. I probably went 50-50 on wins and losses, you know what I mean? But when I met all the psychobillies and stuff down at the Hatchet, which again was where Blackbeard, you go there now, they got a plaque up for Blackbeard, and they used to host bare knuckle fights. And Hatchet is, there's a lot of history about that. You can look into that. The Hatchet pub, I think it's 1632. I don't fucking remember 16 something AD, but it used to be called ADs at one point. But it's a Hatchet pub, and they've grown it. Me and my wife was just over last year, and I took her down there, and they've cleaned the place up a lot. And it definitely ain't the same characters that was in there in the 80s, but it was where Blackbeard hung out there, amongst everybody, Captain Kidd and other people, because those were haunts in Bristol that was, drinking establishments, but you go down memory lane and that was famous for bare knuckle fighting. And trust me, we had plenty of fucking fights outside the Hatchet, and there was the Studios nightclub, and inside the Studios was the Whip, and it was crazy. I met these people, and for the first time in my life, I felt I belonged. And that was what I always loved tattooing anyway. Like I say, my grandparents had tattoos and stuff like that, and that was the lead in the tattooing for me. Was being around it, so I just loved it, man. Dunstable tattoo convention that Ian Redding put on. Ian did my back piece. I think you've seen with the pirate scene and stuff like that. Actually, that's a Landogger pub tattooed on my back, what Ian freehanded. Ian being probably one of my ultimate influences ever in tattoo world. He had this convention called Dunstable, and it was by far, there ain't a tattoo convention ever. There ain't a convention ever that come close to that. I didn't give a fuck about all your massive conventions. There was nothing coming close to Dunstable. They shut this town down. It opened I would say it opened at like 11, 12 o'clock till 6. They shut the convention down at 6. The whole fucking town got business. The bars, the restaurants, the take everything. The bed and breakfasts, all the hotels was filled. They shut down at 6 o'clock, between 6 and 7. If you was getting tattooed, you could stay inside. If you weren't getting tattooed, you got the fuck out. They cleaned the whole place. They restocked the bar. They got all the food stocked. The vendors reorganized. Right. The tattoo artists had a little break. They were ready to go. They opened the door at 7 o'clock. Well, it was kid friendly up until 6. It was adult only from 6 to midnight. And let me tell you, it was fucking wild. They had some wild shit going on there. The entertainment was wild. The tattooing back then was so different. Every booth you went to, I can remember having some big names. Like, Paul Booth was over there when he was starting out. Fucking Jack Moody would be there, and other people like that. But every fucking booth was a totally different style. They wasn't like now. You go to a convention, every fucker's doing the same shit. You can walk fucking 40 booths and see the same fucking shit going on everywhere. Which, all right, yeah, it's popular. I get it, But back then, the diversity in the tattooing, and
who to go to,
man, it was that style. I can remember watching Paul Booth work. I remember I've watched Philip Lou work, and I'd just be mesmerized with the now everybody's mimicking and stuff like that, but then watching them work, it was different. Like Philip Lou is just that guy's just unbelievable. To watch him just fucking put stuff on there, he's so natural and so fast. Right. He's so fast, and if he puts it on you, don't get me wrong, but just being around that Dunstable convention was something you never forget. If you went there, you never forget Dunstable. And there's never been a convention, in my opinion. I've been to some good conventions, don't get me wrong, but there ain't never been anything close.
Still goes on or no?
No. It turned into things went south over there a little bit, and I think it graduated to be now the London convention. Which is a great convention, don't get me wrong, but Dunstable had some, for me personally, we didn't get a hotel room, we couldn't afford it, we'd sleep in the car park, you know what I mean? And we didn't fucking sleep, we had characters like Punk Danny, and everybody in Bristol knows fucking Danny. That motherfucker with his video camera, fucking look out, forget candid camera, fucking Danny got you was fucking cool. And, but yeah, we had such a fucking blast with that crew, and we had the Skin Deep crew, which is still a crew today, all of us Skin Deep guys. The Skin Deep crew got bigger and bigger, but I like to think I'm one of the originals with Skin Deep, Clive, fucking me, Clumsy Jim, Bob Dog, who's passed obviously now. But man, it was fucking wild,
Yeah,
wild, and
those days were amazing.
Yeah, it was fucking awesome. Amazing. And I say, being around bit, talking about bare knuckle, like Dave was known for that. We was all big fans of like. Lenny McLean, Roy Shaw, people like that. Watching all the little clips of bare knuckle you could get. I worked up around London a couple of times and saw some stuff, but around Bristol, certainly back then, we had a lot of travellers come around. You got two types of travellers, in my opinion. You got your your travellers that are people think of pikeys, like you see in the movie Snatch and shit like that.
I'm familiar.
So I understand a lot of research of that was done around Pucker Church area of Bristol with the camp. Was where Dave's from, actually.
They steal the teeth out of your fucking mouth.
Oh, fuck. Well, here's the thing. Make no mistake. Those people don't fight.
Oh, no.
I don't give a fuck. Even a winning. Even a fucking winning.
Absolutely.
No, a lot of respect. I got a lot of respect for that. I worked around some of them. But you got the travellers, and then you got your showman travellers, like the fairground type travellers. Right. Not to be mixed up with each other, like Romany gypsies, as they call them, and then you got your pikey type gypsies, whatever. But I got nothing but respect for those people because they live a hard life and they're real. I remember coming back from Oz's, I think, when I wanted to get something to eat. And the only place in Bristol was open late back then was KFC. Well, KFC went for a thing when he franchised out. In Bristol, it went to a Miss Millie's fried chicken, which was permission, I think, from a Bristol guy to fly that. It was basically KFC, but under Miss Millie, which I think I think it's Colonel Saunders' daughter's name. I'm not sure.
Oh.
But I believe it was a thing that was set up because I think there was a lot of problems with all that shit when they ripped off Colonel Saunders. So I gone in this fucking thing in Briz Village. There was a Miss Millie's. And there's some pikers in because they used to camp out different areas of Bristol until they got moved on and shit. And, they would have a row. I had a couple of run-ins and it was tough people. You know what I mean? I was remember waiting online and this fucker turned around a pair of German paratrooper boots on. He got them at a ex-army store or whatever. And I said, I like them fucking boots. I said, yeah, they're nice, aren't they? He said, I'm going to take them boots and I'm going to fucking shove them up your arse. And I fucking looked around and there's like 3 of them and there's me and my brother. And I thought, all right. I know my brother, he could have a row if he wanted. I said, well, fuck it. There's only 3 of them. Might take it out in, might not. And as that was going through my mind, across the street was a pub and White Hart. And the fucking windows went out on the right of the fucking pub, and there's a massive brawl because I guess all these fuckers' mates was in the pub kicking off. And right as that happened, he spit his chicken out because there was he used to have a glass window, couldn't get across, Right. He throws the chicken at the woman, says his chicken ain't cooked. At that point, I fucking weighed up my situation here, and I decided I didn't want fried chicken that night. So I went to walk out the door, and he's got his, and you could see the dilemma on his face. He got his chicken he wants to eat because he's obviously had a drink in him, and he wants my boots. I think he wanted the chicken more than my boots. He goes, where do you think you're fucking going with them boots? I said, have a good night, mate. Enjoy your chicken. And I got the fuck out of there. But again, those people ain't to be messed with. I respect them.
No.
No,
I
hard-working people.
Trained in some of the bobbies in Essex and came across a few, and I couldn't understand a fucking word.
I wouldn't trust them, but I
couldn't understand them.
No. Well, they speak in, like you say, they say in that movie quite well, really. It ain't fucking English, it ain't fucking Irish.
Right, exactly.
I did a little, I was doing some bricklaying, and this fella, they was famous for putting tarmac drives down, but they put down about that fucking thick. So once they got a fucking week or 2 later, the shit hit up, And this guy wanted me to build a garden wall. Somebody they did a job for, he wanted a garden wall, and he's like, "Oh, fella, you want to fucking do that fucking wall for me? I will give you £200." I said, "No, I ain't fucking doing it." He kept bugging me, So I find out, I said, "I'll tell you what," I said, "I can't do it, I'm too busy. I said, I'll give you this guy's number." So there's a guy I knew him when I did bricklaying at college. This guy, he's whatever kind of guy really, but he didn't have a lot of work on, and he was looking for some work. So I give him this fucking guy's number. He calls me up. "Steve, have you got that guy's number?" I said, "No, I give you it. That's the fucking last I knew." So I built the wall. He said, "The fucker, he never paid me. He never came back." He said, "Now the guy's driveway's all fucked up." He says, "Like, guy wants me to pay." So that was typical, But hey, you know what? Stick to buying fucking pegs and lucky ever from him, and you're all right. Start doing brickwork, you're fucked. So but Bristol was full of characters.
Oh no, yeah, the stories are incredible, absolutely incredible. But I have to ask, what football team?
Me?
Yeah.
Fucking none of them. I have to say, if it No. I was right. My dad played reserve Bristol City goalkeeper when I was a kid, so he's on Bristol City Bristol. But Bristol Rovers, the Gas, they're the Pirates.
Right.
How could you go wrong following the Pirates at the Gas? So yeah, I mean, yeah, I'd have to say, man, I don't fucking really follow soccer. It ain't my thing. But it would be hard for me to tear between the two. I think honestly I would lean towards Bristol Rovers just because of the pirate shit. I was brought up with Bristol City, so I, not being a fan of soccer, it don't matter to me. I know I'll probably have some controversy from my mates back home, but again, you know, I was on the southwest side of Bristol, which is, you know, more so Bristol City. But I'm always, like I say, I've always been a bit of a fucking pirate. So there's the Gas, and a lot of my mates were from North Bristol, and they was Gas heads. So not being a soccer fan didn't matter to me, honestly. You know,
some good scruffs going on at the game.
All right, yeah, man. I'll tell you what. In the 80s, it was iffy, that football hooligan stuff.
Oh yeah.
I remember one time I was 16. Yeah, it might have been 15. I was 15. So yeah, I was 16. I've been rolling me AP 50 down there. I walked down to the docks because I say my mum's house was right outside of there. So I walked down to the docks into the centre, city centre, which was a pedestrianised area for the most part. And I wanted a shark stuff earring, but it's more like a tiger tooth. I want this fucking, I had me fucking hair up, fucking flat tops, all bleached up on this thing, like big baggy pants and me creepers. And I wanted this fucking shark's tooth earring.
Hold on, still wear creepers? Because I do.
No, I'm too tall for that shit.
Yeah, and I know you already made a short fucking joke before. So go ahead.
I go to buy this fucking earring, right? And I fucking put it in. I think I bought it in the arcades in Bristol. Anybody in Bristol knows the arcades. And I bought this fucking earring. And I put it in and fucking walking down the fucking road like this. And I could hear it. And I thought I was fucking the kiddie, you know what I mean? And it dawned on me, there ain't no cunt around. And Saturday, it would be packed downtown. Packed. And there wasn't no cunt around. It's like a ghost town. And I walked up, and normally I would cut up through, I was heading back to Lower Knoll, and normally I'd cut up through Redcliffe and go over the Banana Bridge and up to St. Luke's Road, where I was on about, right, where I would try to avoid sometimes when I was younger. As I got older, I didn't give a fuck. Go under the railroad bit and up through the hill. So I'm walking a nice, whatever made me do it. I come up around the Coliseum, which is where the Matthew boat built in Nova Scotia by the hole in the wall was talking about. And there's these caves, Redcliffe Caves, which was always told was a pirate prison. They kept pirates in there. And it's still caves with metal bars to this day that do tours. But I cut up through that side and I went up over Redcliffe Hill, big church, cathedral on the left. I come up through towards Bedminster and I was going to cut up through that way. For some reason, I went that way. I don't know why I went that way, but I did. And I looked down, fucking trying to think, is that Commercial Road or is Commercial Road? Anyway, whatever fucking road it is, going down towards Temple Meads. And I see this fucking mob of people coming up. And I thought I saw blue. Oh, Bristol Rovers must be playing Bristol City because they're coming towards Ashton and whatever. And I would have been, if I'd have cut that way, I'd have come right into them. As it happened, I was, probably a quarter of a mile up from that. So I carried on walking up in towards Bedminster. I thought I would get myself a pasty or a pie at fucking Mount Stephen's Bakery and fucking walk on up, or Greg's or whatever it was. And I walked up through. Well, 15 minutes after I was right there, some young lad got fucking razored up. It was Millwall, all the football, and it kicked off down Bedminster bad. But yeah, so it was real. That soccer violence and stuff was real. And I can remember being in the docks, like in the pubs and bars like that, and it would kick off between different, Bristol City guys, and they could have a fucking fight, man. Trust me, I worked fucking, where was I up? I was roofing up around London way, and come unstuck in a pub up there with me. My accent was a lot stronger, I think, then, and it carried. So a lot of, we was up London way working. I think it might have been outside of London, it might have been like Croydon or somewhere. But anyway, this pub, it was near an army base, and this geezer figured we was from Bristol, and he kept saying, Bristol boys, strong in the arm, weak in the head. And I said, what the fuck's that supposed to mean? And I think he was referring to us being fucking game for a row, like, what I mean? But I thought he was calling me a div, and he starts going, ooh-ar, which is like a stay at like farmer or country bumpkins and be, ooh-ar, how you doing? How are you? That's how he talk, you know what I mean? So, of course, it kicks off in that fucking pub, but it always stuck in my mind. Is that the perception that people had of us in Bristol, strong in the arm and weak in the head? Because, there's some tough areas in England, and there is it all over it.
You're from working class,
you know. But the thing is, I will say this: I come to Florida for the first time in 1992, and Steve, who I work with here, he has a saying, and I live by that. It ain't where you're from, it's where you're at. Because you could be the baddest motherfucker from somewhere, but you don't know where you're at, and there's some that are fucking badder. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
And so I've always took what he said, and I live by that. I honestly do. I'm very proud to come from where I come from in Bristol. I'm very proud of my roots, and I absolutely love. I'm an American citizen. I fucking love Florida. I love the South. You know, I'll go up north and I'll go out west, and I'll enjoy a vacation. But I fucking love living in Florida. I'm a born again Floridian. And, you know, and I am. I mean, anybody asks me, I'm a fucking cracker, you know what I mean? But I am a great believer in it's where you're at. And there's, let me tell you, there's, you know, something I learned I've been here 27 years, I think thereabouts. And I've learned there's a lot of fucking bad motherfuckers around here.
Yes, there are.
You know, and
yes,
anywhere else you go. So it don't really matter where you're at. Like I said, I enjoyed growing up, the time I grew up. I go back to Bristol now, it ain't the same. We've got a lot of different cultures in there now that we didn't have. But we always had like the Jamaican and the Pakistanis and all that there. When I was a kid, no big deal. Everybody, you know, everybody pretty much got along for the longest time, and then it didn't. But it got where more cultures coming, and areas got diluted down. You know, families moved away from areas. It's like, and my understanding was because my great grandmother was born in an area called the Dings in the Docks, which was slums. And they pulled down the Dings. I think it was the Dings. That's what it was called, or a Dingle, or fucking something. I can't honestly remember. But I got pictures. But it was slums. Okay, and they pulled that down and they built Northwest and Southmead, I believe, which was two. Like we got project houses, right. There's council estates, too big. And they split those people up. So of course, naturally, they become rivals. You know what I mean? And Southmead again is a tough area. You know what I mean? Just very much like Northwest, same type of fill, same type of people, but split up. All probably coming from that same part of the Docks. You know, but yeah, Bristol now it's changed. It's changed a lot. Everywhere's changed.
Everywhere, the landscape has changed.
The people's changed, and so. And it's funny. I go back and the lads they all crack up because I'm still talking like I spoke 30 years ago using terminology, and now everyone's like, "Oh, what? Hey, in it." And I don't know what they talking about. But you know, I'm in a fucking time capsule when I go back to Bristol. As long as I got a Clark's pie and a cider, I'm fucking happy. It's like I've never left. But you know, yeah, it's interesting, and you know, I like I say, I love Florida. You know, I love my tattoos.
Glad you're here, man.
I love my family. I love my friends. I love being here. There ain't nowhere on this planet I'd rather be.
Give the address to the shop.
We're Bullets Tattoos, 41 South Charles Richard Bill Boulevard, which is 1792 D. Barry, Florida. We'll tattoo whatever you want, and we have a tattoo removal system here. I'm fucking with you. Now, we love doing what we do. We've got some great artists here. A lot of fun. We are what you see is what you get. A lot of people don't like that anymore. They want to be kind of, you know, rolled in sugar and stuff. It's all in good humor here. Absolutely. It really is. I mean, we like to have a joke and let the day go by. No pun on Italians. Yeah, no, I'm a married one. So we have a lot of fun here. We really do. We got some great artists. Come check us out, man. We enjoy what we do, and we do it as good as anybody else, you know.
If you come into the shop, you may be fortunate enough to hear one of Steve's stories. And I say it all the time to my friends, to our mutual friends, that you got to keep storytelling alive, even though it may change a little bit as the stories are being told.
It's like Chopperito was said, never let the truth get in the way of a good yarn.
Good. Exactly. Right? Exactly. You got to keep it alive, keep the culture alive. As you all know, you know my background. You know, I've been in Florida since I'm 17. I am a cracker. I don't consider myself for being up north, even though I can't get the fucking accent on.
Well, you was from Bristol.
I am. Next time I go back, I'm gonna need a wingman.
There you go.
Maybe we can head over. We'll take Gonzo with us. Gonzo is in the studio. He's our studio manager today. Mutual friend of
a great
Steve
man.
I's. Great man.
Yeah.
Gonzo introduced us, and thus us being in the same room together. Gonna get some ink slung in a few. Pretty excited about having a piece from Steve so I can show it the fuck off and say, look, this is Steve Sage original tattoo. Pretty excited about it. We're gonna do that in a little bit. I do want to thank you again. You made my day.
Well, just to clarify, never a bare knuckle fighter. I'm a lover. Fluffy and marshmallowy, that's what I am.
Yes, you are. So he's the size of a fucking wall. And I was teasing and I said, he's got hands like catcher's mitts. And how he does his fine line work, how he does this beautiful fine line work and stuff is beyond me. And as we all know, I may be a short motherfucker, but we know at the end of the day, we spoke about in the past. Love you all. Thanks so much for tuning in.
Hey, thanks for having me on.
No, it's an absolute fucking pleasure.
I got to try these new cigars, guys. Don't miss out. They smell delicious.
Steve's got some new Gangster and Cigars, our new infused. You can find our line at Smoke Ring 72 in Merritt Island. Are carrying them exclusive, or you can hit me up on the show. Be more than happy to send you out a 5-count box, or however you want. Bullies. Next episode, I'm gonna grab a t-shirt. I'm gonna sport a bully t-shirt next episode. Only because I love him. I love the shop.
We got him in that small of a size, but we'll see what we can do.
Jesus. This cunt has been fucking with me the entire day. One of these days, we're going to get Gonzo on, and the three of us are going to bullshit.
There you go.
Gonzo's a little...
There's going to be some stories.
A little shy. So Gonzo's been all over the world. He used to be the MCs for all of these big, huge tattoo conventions.
Yes,
he may know a person or two.
Shit.
He may have a tattoo or two. But he's got some great stories. I'm going to convince him and twist his arm, do an episode with Steve, Gonzo, and I think he'll be able to influence Gonzo maybe a little bit more because he's a little taller than I am. Yeah. Not much, but maybe a fucking weed hair taller than I am. Again,
it's like my Puerto Rican twin.
Exactly. What a fucking episode.
Nice.
An Italian, Bristolian, and a fucking Puerto Rican.
Walk into a bar.
Now that's a fucking joke, which would be absolutely great. Thanks for tuning in. Again, thanks to Steve Sage.
Thanks for having me. God bless everybody.
Thanks to Gonzo in the background for being my manager for the day. Shirtless Mike, man, I miss you. You'll be on the next episode with us again. We'll be doing a cigar review.
Give him a shot in my back real quick.
Let's see the back. Hold on.
Vision?
Oh, yeah, I'll get it on. I'll get you on. Hold on. Now you got the fucking chair on, mate.
The fucking chair out the way. Get my back in there.
Hold on. There it is, man.
With the land dogger and all.
Let me get a little closer. Now, that tattoo took about a half an hour, I think, that Steve said. And as you can see from the size of his back, he's a small mate.
That's why I don't go to nude beaches. I won't scare anybody.
Jesus Christ. Thanks again for tuning in. God bless.
All right, guys.
See you on the next episode.
Smash him.